Welcome back to High School Backhouse Podcast. My name is Jake. I am here with everybody besides Nick and Steve as they have some other things they have to attend to tonight. Well, guys, it's the 73rd episode. We've got a really good episode ready to come up for you. First and foremost, we're definitely going to be talking about who the greatest college quarterback of all time is, and that is what I am most excited about today.
There is no debate.
There really isn't a debate, and I think Kyle and I have different answers, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to get started with some news. Austin, you want to tell me what happened in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, please?
Well, I mean, it wasn't anything that spectacular of a year compared to like some of the other years they've had. It was still a good game, but the stars didn't. It's just funny because it's not like a star you would have expected. Elias Diaz not walked it off, but hit a 2-run shot in the 8th inning to give the lead to the NL, which was the first time the NL has won in I think 10 years or maybe a little more than that. I forget.
I'm double checking.
Austin, I'm not going to lie to you. You said that name and I go, I don't know who that is. That
exactly. He plays for the Rockies, so why would you know? Yes. So in overall, it was a 3-2 win for the NL, and there wasn't really anything that spectacular overall. There were some, good plays and things like that, but just, a good, really good, fun.
10 years.
Yeah, it was 10 years.
I was so mad because I bet on the American League to win, and I was like, I bet on an American League player to win the home run derby, which happened, and then I bet the American team to win the All-Star game because the National League never fucking wins anything. And when he hit the home run, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was so mad.
Anything that Kyle bets, bet the exact opposite.
Okay, yes, but hold on.
Did you bet for who was it? Guerrero to win?
I didn't bet him exactly. I bet
Rosarina?
I just bet. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I would have thought you would have met either him or who's the guy from the Mariners?
I also bet him to win.
Oh,
what's his name?
Lord.
Jose Ramirez.
Thank you,
Jose Ramirez. You're welcome.
Oh my lord. In short,
anyways.
it is the first time the National League has won the All-Star game in a decade. Big sad. Roll American League. Fuck
the home run derby was far more fun to watch, actually.
Oh, I heard.
A lot of amazing stuff.
Ken
Jose
Griffey
Ramirez
hit 27 or 37 home runs in one round? Was it 27?
I think
he
didn't have the record anymore, but he did hit a lot. But Jose Ramirez hit 41 in the first round.
Something like that.
Dear Lord.
Which, by the way, they get, 2 minutes is the baseline for everybody. They get 2 minutes, and then you can get a bonus 30 seconds if you hit, I forget.
A home run over 300, I think? No, not.
I forget the first 30. The second 30, you have to hit 2 balls over 450 or 430 or something like that, like a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
So if you hit
did they change the rules for the home run derby?
A few years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say they've been doing this format probably they've done some minor tweaks overall last
five.
That shows you how much
ago.
I've kept with That shows you how much I've kept up with baseball besides the records.
I think the first time they did that actually was the year Judge won it in 2017, maybe.
Okay,
maybe it was after that, but they made some more changes to that. But overall, the format they changed it to versus the way old format that we grew up with was a lot better because you have bonus things that you can achieve by hitting long shots and doing really well. So in the end, I think he ended up with 3 minutes, and so in 3 minutes he hit 41 home runs, which is that's ridiculous.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I remember when Vlad Guerrero Sr. won the home run derby and watched Vlad Guerrero Jr. like running around while his dad was hitting home runs. I remember watching that as a kid.
Ridiculous. And then
that's really cool.
Won it,
that's
so.
super cool.
It's full circle.
I personally think the home run derby is the best.
It might be the best all-star event in all of sports.
That's what I'm trying to get to. I was I couldn't think of what to say. I think it's
I knew
the
what
best
you're getting
activity.
Yeah. I would honestly take all of the all-star festivities for the MLB over pretty much every other one.
Yeah.
Because
I like the 3-point contest. I like the 3-point contest.
I like the 3-point contest. They do actually try in that.
I miss the NFL skills challenge. This is a whole other conversation. But
But for me, maybe it's nostalgia for me for the MLB All-Star game because it's America's game. I grew up loving it. but then also like in the middle of summer, it was the like big thing that you looked forward to in July. You had Independence Day, and then you had this, and it was like everybody.
It was the only thing really going on while we were
Right.
young.
Hey, MLS All-Star, the penalty
Bro,
Alright,
nobody
let's be
gave a
real,
shit.
nobody cares.
goalkeeper wars.
People care now, but nobody gave a
Yeah, now they
shit
do.
back in 2006, dog.
They need to bring
No.
back goalkeeper wars.
That sounds
Anyway.
actually sick. But Kyle, why don't you tell
Yes.
me what happened at Wimbledon this weekend? Because for the first time in 25 years, someone other than like some 4 people won the Wimbledon.
For the first time, I think it was 30 plus years for the men's and women's 2 first timers won. For the first time in however many years, which is
Whatever
insane.
it was,
Whatever it was. I forgot how to pronounce. I forgot the woman's first name, but Vondrousova, who going into Wimbledon was unranked in the world. She was ranked 180th in
Huge
the world.
dub. Should have hit the under.
I should have bet her. Why didn't I?
Well, then she would have lost.
Dumbass.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
should have
That's
lost.
she was a massive underdog. Of the 7 matches it takes from round 1 to the championship, 5 of her opponents were top 20 ranked in the world, and she beat them all. So she had an insane story to win the whole thing. She is now gone from rank 180th in the world to rank 30th in the world with her win in Wimbledon. So pressure is on heading towards the U.S. Open later this summer for her to actually win. But in the men's tournament, it wasn't quite that same situation. It was the number 1 ranked player in the world who ended up winning. But it was still his first Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz, who, if you guys don't know of him, he's fairly new. He is 20 years old. He did win the U.S. Open last year, but into this season, he has struggled. He had lost to Djokovic twice, both times in the quarterfinals, and he was finally able to beat Djokovic. And thank God, because I cannot stand Djokovic. I cannot stand him.
Oh my lord. We're gonna move right into soccer. That is good for tennis, to be quite honest with you. I'm getting sick of seeing Nadal, Djokovic, and like 2 other names.
I'm excited for some fresh faces to start winning. That's for sure.
Andrew, I know that there are 2 different things that we need to talk about with soccer. Let's start with the Mexican National League team. Tell me about their recent successes.
So Mexico just won the CONCACAF Gold Cup, beating Panama 1-0 in the 88th minute, scoring the freaking winning goal. There were 8 yellow cards handed out in that whole entire match, which is quite a bit. So it was a very aggressive match. Statistically, both teams played really well. Possession was pretty equal throughout the whole entire match. I don't know. I'm just surprised that Mexico actually won a match. Panama deserved the win more. Just because of the way Mexico was playing, and the fact that they lost to Qatar.
Andrew, I'll tell you why Panama lost to Mexico. Ready for it? It's because I bet them to win.
Do it.
Yeah,
Kyle has the worst betting streak of all time, I swear.
But like with this,
it's like
with
0
this
for
win,
100 billion.
That's not true.
No.
But,
yeah, Kyle, you need to stop betting on teams. Please don't bet on the United States winning any more matches. I guarantee you. Wait, no. You bet on them to win. You bet on them to win against Panama.
Andrew. So I did do that. But the women's for the Women's World Cup, which you'll get to in a second, their odds to win the whole tournament are minus 5,000. That would be for me to bet like $10 to win like 5 cents, like something ridiculous. I would bet that $10 and I would lose. That is my luck when it comes to this. But anyway,
my lord. Okay.
I wonder if it shows like Kyle's losses versus his.
I wish.
I can pull it up.
No, please don't. I don't need to be depressed today. I don't want to make Riley depressed. Andrew, keep going.
But like with this win for Mexico, they proved that they are still a top team in the CONCACAF conference for nations. And it kind of just proves the point that, like, you know, with Copa America coming up, the Olympics coming up, and the next World Cup, that Mexico is still hanging around. They finally found a footing in their hole to kind of get through. And I also need to say this: American fans, please stop with the nonsense. Mexico didn't even play us at all in the Gold Cup. We put a B team in to kind of develop players, to help evolve our next steps in going into the next World Cup to find best fitting players going in. So like we don't need to like bash on Mexico because they didn't play us and they won. Congratulate Mexico. Like yes, they are one of our biggest rivals, but like we lost to Panama in a penalty shootout. That's on us. Like,
Andrew,
like we can't
for people who are ignorant in soccer, what does the CONCACAF stand for?
Well, it is a very long phrase, and I cannot remember what it is.
Okay,
All
that's
I know
fine.
Is it's like a It's like a confederation of North American conference.
Okay, whatever. Not a
associated
huge deal.
Yeah.
Not a huge
Essentially,
deal.
Yeah.
it's essentially all the countries in North America in a league together.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
Caribbean.
whatever. That
On like, yeah, it's just a,
Okay,
it's just
cool.
a bunch
That's
of
the
words.
gist of it.
Why
Yeah.
don't you tell me about the women's national team and the women's World Cup beginning?
All right, so this Friday, July 21st, begins the biggest journey of the United States women's national team. They are on the verge of going for three-peat, which has never been done by any national team before, both men and women's. And they are proving a point in history right now that they are USA versus the world. Now, in the group stage that the United States is in, they have the team that they beat in the last World Cup, which is the Netherlands, and a 2-0 win. So this is going to be a tough matchup for them. But they also play Vietnam, and I think it's like Portugal. So currently the only team I see as a bigger problem for them is the Netherlands because of the fact that they went all the way in the last World Cup. So it's a big opportunity for them to kind of step up. So we'll see. We'll definitely see the United States kind of push through. But they were riddled with injuries going into this World Cup. A lot of their key component players were out. But you know everything that they're doing to kind of bring in players with veterancy and young players who have really stepped up throughout this whole entire year to kind of step in and be a big like support and actually making this strive, I think is really great. And I think the United States women's national team is going to do great. And I hope we get a three-peat because why the heck not? Because seeing 5 stars on top of that crest is going to look very freaking amazing.
Odds are they win the whole thing.
USA.
Odds they win the whole thing. 50-50, 70-30, 30-70. Where are we at?
99-1.
And it'll be the one because Kyle's betting on the women's world team.
I'm taking a 60-40 odds right now until I see how things play out and how they actually do in the first group stage matches. But they're playing Vietnam, so it's kind of like a warm-up match for them. So why not? They have Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe in. Alex Morgan is probably going to drop a hat trick on them. Why not?
Oh, my Lord. All right. Andrew, go ahead, Austin. Go ahead.
Just for those who wanted to know what CONCACAF did stand for, it is the Confederation of North, Central America, and Caribbean Association Football.
That is a fucking mouthful, but okay.
It was founded in 1961 and covers 41 different nations.
That is absolutely insane. Andrew, thank you for telling us all about the soccer world. Kyle and Austin, all right, as much as I don't want to let you do this, tell me how concerned you are as fucking Yankees fans right now.
Hold on. You have to let us because you know you'll be talking about the Red Sox.
We are moving into the debate portion of our show today. We're going to start with how concerned should Yankees fans be. Kyle and Austin, why don't you take it away for me, boys?
You want me to start, Austin? You want to?
I guess the first thing is, should we clarify what are we saying by concern? Concerned about missing the playoffs? Concerned about?
Let's start
that
with
you're only one game. That you're only one game behind the Red Sox right now.
No. We're in last.
They're like 3 games behind the Red Sox.
Oh, they're
it's one game. One game behind. We're in sole possession. Concerned to make the playoffs. Let's start at the.
Is it time to panic,
bottom.
boys?
No.
Is it fire sale time?
Oh, it is fire sale time.
Almost.
Let's go.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. So, Austin, I know we had this discussion kind of sort of earlier, but like for the record, I think a large part to what the Yankees are going through right now is very heavily injury related and team built situation.
The
I
only
think
injury is Aaron Judge.
that is not true. That is the biggest
It's
injury.
it's only big when they really have. Right
It's the biggest injury at the moment,
my
considering our
God.
offense is atrocious. In 2017, when the Yankees,
Yeah, I know you were gonna bring this up.
when the
Oh, my
Yankees
Lord.
should have made it to the World Series if it wasn't for the trash
Fair enough.
throws.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Let's know, but I'm just saying. Hold on, if they should have made it there, if the team
Should.
that
Actually
did make
should
it there,
have.
they actually
Should
should have
have.
because the team that did cheated to get there. So no, it's
But
not
did
that we
you
should.
know? Okay, no
Because we
excuses.
didn't cheat. So there.
No excuses.
But anyway, through 94 games that season, the Yankees were 49 and 45. Through the halfway point of that season, they should have made the World Series that following fall. Currently, it's not 94 games at the moment. It's like 96 right now. The Yankees are 50 and 46. So very similar situation at the moment. The
I don't
only
know.
difference is in 2017, the team seemed to have a lot more chemistry than this current team does. A lot more chemistry, it seems like. So I don't think it's quite the similar situation. But that's why I'm not fully worried yet, is because we've dug out of this hole before.
I mean, Kyle, it
It's-
seems like a relatively huge issue, not
It
having
is.
chemistry.
It is a pretty big issue, but I think that just now it comes from management situations. So I think that's where Austin and I share similarities. Is I don't agree that it's necessarily time to fire sale the team. I think it's time to fire sale the management and the coaching staff.
I think it's both. Austin,
gotta go.
Austin, let's go. I need to hear it. Let's have it.
I want them to burn the organization to the ground.
Oh my!
Oh, this is
do-
beautiful.
I want Cashman gone. I want
I agree.
Aaron Boone gone. He should
I
never
agree.
resign. The fact that they did. Oh, he's won 100 games. Oh, he's won 100 games. I don't care what you did in the regular season. Stop giving me
Your
an
dog's even
excuse.
for it.
This is
Exactly.
New York. We don't give a fuck.
I don't care what you do in the regular season. If you don't bring me home those chips, baby, those rings.
So you're telling me
I
the
don't
regular
care.
season doesn't matter?
Oh,
Let's go.
Oh.
No, if you really want me to go back into that, it matters, but it doesn't matter if you don't win anything. Ask the Bruins that.
oh,
I mean-
got him.
I already admitted that it sucked.
I know. So, anyways, yes, fire sale. The big thing for me is I know the management's not going to take ownership because every time we choke in playoffs every year, like last year where we went to the ALCS again and got swept by the Stros, they then like to give us this excuse every year that the playoffs are a crapshoot, and that's the excuse is why we don't win. Yet the Astros have been to the World Series in 4 out of 5 years and won it twice. So you tell me exactly what that means.
It means the Astros are better than you.
Yes. Oh, by far. They are our daddy.
Yeah.
So
Except in
give-
2017, I refuse to accept that.
Okay. Anyways,
I can't
They-
believe the MLB didn't make him vacate that title. Different discussion.
I know.
Sorry, go ahead,
Rob,
Austin.
side note, since you brought that up, Rob Manfred did say he actually regrets not putting, not vacating the title, but not making the players pay because they didn't do anything. The players didn't pay for anything. They literally didn't even get suspended. He's
Yeah.
like, they all should have got us. Anyways, but for the Yankees right now, yes, could they turn it around? Sure. Look at the was it the Phillies last year, right? Nobody expected them to. So if you make the playoffs, there is a chance you can do something, right? You can get hot at that moment. Do I think that's going to happen? No. First reason, Judge may or may not play again this season, and if he does not play, we're definitely not going anywhere. He has a torn ligament in his toe that they are. When we had this conversation, a month ago, I thought
about-
he was coming back in a couple of days because that's what they were saying. He was only going to be out of 10 days or whatever. He has a strained toe, whatever, like big toe. He's gonna be fine. And then for like 3 weeks, they were just kept saying that, and then all of a sudden, Judge was like, "Oh no, it's torn." We're like, "Were you just lying to us to make us buy tickets and come?" Like, I'm confused. So, anyways, without him, not going to go far. And then the rest of the team, I mean, it's a minor league team at best with the bats right now. I mean, Josh Donaldson, thank God he's on the IL. He is a trash can, and we find
Honestly, we might win more without him in
You've
the lineup.
got
Actually,
Giancarlo Stanton at 300 mil, Josh Donaldson at 150
dude,
mil.
it's so stupid how much we're paying Josh Donaldson. But anyways, so this is what I want. I want them. Unfortunately, Giancarlo has a no trade clause and he's signed through 2028, which is annoying. So out of his
Brutal.
325 million that he got starting with the Marlins, and then the Yankees picked it up when they traded for him, that's till 2028. So I think it's like something like 25 mil even to that point, like in the year. Anyways, so it'll be hard to get rid of him because he has to waive or his no trade clause and say where he wants to go. I'm hoping
no
they can work that out with him.
trading for him.
Not likely. If he was on an expiring contract, that he would, because he's a big bat and he performs in the playoffs. You actually go check. He's actually our best bat in the playoffs every year.
He's a very, very good bat in the playoffs.
The problem is he's got 5 years left of control, and he hits right now 200.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard to move, and he's
Which,
owed
if anybody had been paying attention to Giancarlo Stanton at any point in his career, they would have known that this is exactly who Giancarlo Stanton is.
Well, up
Just for the
until a couple
record.
years ago, he was at his career stats. I think it's like 260 of.
I don't think it was that high, dude.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I
Kinda
think he
looked
hits
that up.
235 for his career, and that's
I
before
think
this
it's
200
higher.
season.
But
Kyle,
would
can you
play
look
it?
this up, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
So, anyways, what I want is Giancarlo traded if
Gone.
possible. Find a way. If you got to eat most of his contract, that's fine. But they're not going to cut him. So see if you can trade him away, even if it's for basically nothing. Get rid of. This is the reason I want him gone, is because I want Ohtani next year, either before the season is over or in the offseason. But so trade him. I want DJ gone. I want Rizzo gone. I want Rizzo. You could actually trade for something probably. Maybe not some high prospects. He's not having his best year, but I want him gone.
Pause. His career batting average is 262 in the regular season.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it's
Interesting,
actually
okay.
not that bad.
No, it's not bad.
But he's having a really bad year this year.
Yeah.
I
Last
lied.
year wasn't that great.
I 100% just lied.
Okay,
That
what is it
was no, I'm not lying. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm looking. I'm Wikipedia.
Kyle.
Wikipedia, the way they just had
All right.
that stacked was so confusing.
Just,
Let me
just
just-
keep going, Austin. Just keep
It
going.
was
to wrap this
262.
up.
That's the final answer. Okay.
I'll just run right through it again. Get rid of the management for this offseason. I want Cashman gone. He's got you one ring, really, because he inherited all the great players from the 90s, like Jeter and everybody, into the early 2000s. They were winning everything. So get him gone. He hasn't done anything. He keeps building teams that are relevant. And this is the reason I hope the Yankees do not go above 500 and hopefully have one of the worst records. Oh, they're still going to be competitive, but like have a worse-ish record for a last-place team. Because that will give fuel to hopefully say, Cashman, you suck at creating teams, and you finally aren't perfect or above 500, which is like 25 years straight or something like that. So anyway, get rid of those two, and then trade Stanton, Rizzo, Glaber. Glaber's a big one.
No.
Yes.
Stop
I know
it.
he's hitting well, but you need to capitalize on it now. We can move Volpe over to second, put Peraza at shortstop, and then that's the future right there with Judge. And then so get rid of Glaber while he still has value, because he's the number, like right now he's hitting phenomenally. He's hitting 339. Trade him. Trade Rizzo, trades all those guys. DJ LeMahieu, he'd be a valuable bat for somebody on a contender that just needs versatility. He can play every position in the infield. So literally just fire sale all of those people. Get rid of some of the pitchers. Trade Herman, trade Luis Severino if you can. Like get all those guys out the door. And then let's burn it down and rebuild, because you got Judge for 10 years or 7 more after this, I should say, because he signed for 8 or whatever. Let's capitalize on the rest of his deal and whatever you got at Cole left, because Cole's pitching at a Cy Young level right now, and he is getting just destroyed by having no offense back him up. Like he should have won the other game where he pitched.
Was it Saturday?
Yeah, 6
right.
innings with 1 run and 11 Ks, and he ends up not getting a win. So.
All right, boys. So what I'm hearing, Kyle is saying that the Yankees are still a World Series contender, and I'm hearing Austin
That's
say
not
blow
what
it
I
the fuck
said.
up.
If
That is not what I said.
If
That is
they
exactly
buy at
what
the
you said.
deadline, I'm going to be so pissed, because there's a possibility they trade for Cody Bellinger, who they could have signed in the offseason because he wanted to be a Yankee. I
Listen, all I gotta
Austin,
tell
I
you is
tell you,
that
I don't
I
think
would
it's
love a
as
fire.
bad.
I would love a fire sale of the Yankees, because I think that would be absolutely funny. It would be the first time in my lifetime that it would be like, okay, rebuild time in New York.
I think it would be the first
Um,
time in our parents' lifetime.
the thing is,
No,
if
they
you
definitely
rebuild-
sucked, but
Not fire sale sucked.
Kyle,
Not fire sales.
last thing I'll say on this, Jake. Kyle, if this could be actually the perfect gift in disguise, because if we fire sale everybody and we got rid of Stanton's contract, we can go get Ohtani in the offseason for $600 million. with him, Judge, and then you bring up some of the young guys that are really good, like Austin Wells. Obviously, Volpe will be better next year. Peraza is already showing that he's good. Get Jason Dominguez in here for the next year too. You still got
I don't know.
Bader.
As much as, I don't know, as awesome as Otani is, and obviously the greatest player, every time a generational talent comes here, they don't do well.
I mean, you got Judge.
Who?
Yeah, but he was drafted here.
Doesn't matter.
Like
No, it does matter.
It does matter.
I know it
People-
matters.
I'm talking
play-
free agent.
I know it matters. I'm just trying to be a dick.
I'm like talking
Are
specifically
you talking
free
like
agent.
Bro,
Alex
Otani's gonna play.
Rodriguez?
Otani's gonna
What?
play Otani. Like he's gonna be fine.
I'm not talking pitchers either, because obviously Garrett Cole is.
Are you talking? Like, who are you talking about? Was the last person that didn't do well? It was a generational talent.
I'm trying to remember his name from the 2012 free agent class. I'm blanking. on
Oh,
it.
Teixeira. Mark Teixeira.
Yes, that was 2009, but he did
He had-
fine in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's not who I was talking about either. Hold
Oh,
on.
my bad. 2012.
I forgot who I'm talking
Fucking
about.
cool.
But there was one particular player from the mid
Who
2000s
did we
that we
sign?
drafted. We're not drafted. We signed him to try and get Jeter one more ring in the late 2000s. And
I
I
have
can't
no
remember.
2012.
Yeah, 2012, 2013-ish season. It was before Jeter was calling it quits.
I don't
know
think
who
this
you're talking
matters.
about.
I'm
Who's a
moving on.
generational talent? I'm just curious. I don't know who you're thinking.
I'll get back to you. Move on.
Yeah,
I'll,
get
I'll
back
me-
to me.
I'll message privately about it.
No, you can say it out loud when you find it.
All right.
All right,
fine.
boys. We're going to move on to the biggest news in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is going over to the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to focus more on what this does for the Tennessee Titans because, honestly, from what I understand, the Patriots offered a competitive offer, and instead of betting on himself and the incentives, he took the more guaranteed money, which anybody would do in his position, and that's fine. I shouldn't say it like that. That makes me sound salty. I'm really not. I think he did what was best for himself.
Brian
Um,
McCann. That's who it was.
Are you saying generational with Brian McCann?
He was. Brian McCann was one of the greatest catchers of our generation.
Bro,
When he
nobody knows
played-
who the fuck
Okay.
that is. All right,
Okay.
moving to DeAndre Hopkins.
All right, can I just say this, Jake?
Yes, go ahead.
Otani, Brian McCann is in like
Okay.
Otani.
what?
Yes, obviously
Not
they're
even
different
close to the
worlds.
same.
They're
Oh
different
my
A-Rod,
levels.
I'd have been like, yes.
No, they're different. Well, A-Rod was good for him. No, they're different levels. Obviously, like I'm not trying to compare Brian McCann to Otani. I'm not. a
I mean,
moron.
that's what it seemed like you were trying to do, bro.
No.
I'm kidding. Let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins. It's a much more lighthearted situation. Let's talk about what he does for the Tennessee Titans, right?
everything.
No, that's not true. Honestly, okay. I am probably one of the. I think there's a lot of people out there who really think DeAndre Hopkins is washed, which is just an absolutely fucking ignorant argument. If you've watched DeAndre Hopkins play in the last year and a half, the dude was on pace for 1,500 yards last year. Mind you, he was playing with a much better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, but that is what it is. First and foremost, what DeAndre Hopkins does for this Tennessee Titans team is it slides everybody down a slot. So instead of Treylon Burks being a number one and having the best corner focused on Treylon Burks, he now gets corner twos, which I think allows Treylon Burks to develop a little bit better. He is personally, in my opinion, not ready to be taking on cornerback ones in the NFL. He's not there yet. And in their new offense, if for those of you who don't know, Tennessee fired their offensive coordinator last year and is moving to a less zone, like, I don't know how to put it, but they're essentially switching offenses, and it fits Treylon Burks a little bit less. It's less of a Shanahan style offense and more of a power run style offense. And that's fine. I think it definitely helps I think it helps bring in DeAndre Hopkins because DeAndre Hopkins is going to produce regardless of what offense you're running, to be quite honest with you. I know people are going to make jokes about, Tennessee is where receivers go to die. I've made those jokes just because, they're funny. But no, DeAndre Hopkins should produce for this team. I don't think it makes them a Super Bowl contender. I don't think you go to the Tennessee Titans to chase rings. But I'm going to open it up to the floor. I know that Austin is prepared to talk about this. We were supposed to have Steve talk about it too, but that's okay. Austin, hit me up.
I'll do a little bit of both since we were saying we were going to kind of talk about how. What I'll do is I'll talk about how kind of big of a miss I think it is for the Pats this year.
Yeah, please.
I mean, number one, we kind of had this argument earlier because Kyle, he just likes to argue and his takes are terrible. But he was trying to make the argument that Mac Jones is far superior. Inferior to
Which is,
Ryan
I'm
Tannehill.
sorry, Kyle. That's a dumb argument. That's absolutely ignorant.
I was
I'll,
okay.
I'll say my part. I'll say my part.
Okay, I was okay if you had said like Tannehill may be better. Like you could argue that. I think me and Jake would both disagree with it at this point, but
Saying he's clearly better is what I took a problem
Yeah,
with.
I-
If you
that-
go
that's
like
what I
Ryan
want.
Tannehill, in my opinion, is better, I'm like, okay. I mean, I think you're wrong, but like, okay.
but like it's there's an argument to be made. But anyways, I think for the Pats, it's a big loss, and I think they should have given him a little bit more guaranteed.
Yeah.
Or even come back with another one. He said no to that. Just say, hey, okay, we'll give you a little bit more guaranteed. We'll still have the incentives, or even just say, hey, look, maybe he would have come if you had bumped the incentives up another $2 million or whatever they could have done to get him here.
And
Point
I mean,
is-
so do you put that on? I see a lot of people putting it on Bill. Do you put that on Bill, or do you put it like that's a competitive offer that's
Which
not on
Bill?
Bill Belichick at this point? Bill
I-
Belichick.
Okay.
Belichick.
I would say, I
Like,
would have to know
if
who's
you were
making
going to
the final
assign,
decision
if
on
you're going to
that.
assign blame, like Bill Belichick's the GM, so clearly, like,
So I would have to put it on him because he
Yeah.
is the GM.
okay. See,
Since
I don't
he's the
think
one
it's a
coming
bit.
with contracts and stuff.
I don't think that's a Bill Belichick issue solely because obviously, like, you made a competitive offer, clearly. And depending on what the incentives are, we don't know what they were. I'm
Right.
assuming they were, like, reachable, attainable goals. Like, I can't fault DeAndre Hopkins for being like, no, I want the guaranteed money, like, whatever. But Bill Belichick's known to do, like, the whole incentive-laden deal. We were even saying doing the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
we were
I'm
like
okay
he
with
did
that.
exactly what we said he should do, and it just happened with Tennessee offered more guaranteed.
Right. My problem is the fact of what offer that first. That's why I'm putting the blame on him. And then
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen, this is a guy you should go get because it's a critical year for Matt. That's the
Yeah.
reason I'm saying it's so important, and that's why.
Oh no,
To
I
me-
agree with you. It's a huge miss.
Yeah, it's a big miss for them. It's a great addition, and I won't go into because you said everything
Yeah.
about it. But for me, it's a big miss, strictly for the fact you got
You've got Juju,
Brian. Right, you've got Juju. You have
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, and you have Matt coming off of a very bad year compared to what he did, obviously, the first year. And
Yeah.
everybody in the locker room continues talking about people that are actually GM scouts, things talk about they really like Mac Jones the way he reads the game.
Yeah,
So all the hate he got last year was not warranted because he was just like, dude, this is kids.
bro,
league. What
it
am I
was
playing?
literally a Pop Warner offense.
Right. So you needed to get this to take that next level
Yeah.
for Mac, I think, because Juju is a little bit better Jacoby Myers, in my opinion. He's not that
Yeah.
fast. He's not going to break open coverage.
He's more athletic than Jacoby Myers is, but yeah.
Yes, but
We'll just go
overall,
up more for the ball.
yeah.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Austin. I mean, I think you would have done the same thing, but to a like bigger degree in New England, where he
Yeah.
pushes everybody down. If you have Juju, like I think Juju's probably slotted in the wide receiver 1, meaning like he's the first read. He's not playing wide receiver X like Devontae Parker is. Obviously,
Right.
Parker's playing the X on the outside, like that's what he does.
Right.
But when it comes to being wide receiver 1, you plug in Juju probably at the Z route because that's or Z spot because you want him in the slot running routes and getting open
Right.
underneath. And then you
Taekwon's
probably
the
have
other.
Kendrick on the F, which is flanker side.
It might be
Obviously.
I think
Taekwon.
they want to put Taekwon out there. They want
I
that
think
at speed.
I think Kendrick and Taekwon are going to spend a little bit of time splitting the F spot, but that's just me.
I
Well,
wouldn't be
I feel
surprised
like I would be surprised though either if Kendrick switches with Devontae out there as well.
I think Kendrick has
Because-
a lot of like a bigger role either way, right?
Right,
But-
because they want to utilize him after last season. Like
But-
he showed up
Yeah.
for Mac's first season pretty well.
Yeah.
And then we added Parker, but with Parker being somewhat injury prone once in a while,
Yeah.
especially with him having that concussion last season and then nobody stopping the game. I really think that like we should definitely potentially look at Bourne being
Like-
that option to fill in.
Yeah, and I
Didn't-
mean, if you get D Hop, you essentially push Devontae Parker out because you're putting
Right.
D Hop at the X. Like it's not.
Right. So
But-
that was
yeah.
for me. That was the big thing was get him because you need
Yeah.
Mac to show that he can. Because if he doesn't show well this year, right, you're probably still
You're looking at a
him next
quarterback.
year,
Like
but
you're looking
now
at a quarterback in the
right?
draft. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're thinking, okay, is there for Belichick? He's now thinking about it, looking, and if he doesn't perform well this year, that means we probably have a higher draft pick. So are we looking, saying, are we going to move up, that kind of stuff? Now it's
Yeah.
a totally different scenario going into next season, and I think that's why it's very critical to see, okay, can he get back to at least freshman or rookie year? Because if he gets back to his
Yeah.
rookie year, you're like, okay, so we know it was a down year there. He can now trend up. We're good with him.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. And now you have D Hop for 2, right? It was going to be a 2-year deal.
It's going to be a 2-year deal. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm saying I
High
think we
volume.
offered him a 2, right?
Yeah, it was a 2-year deal.
So you have him for
It was
2 years.
essentially the same deal, but with more incentives instead of
Right,
guaranteed
exactly.
money.
So for me, it was you get him for the first year to show that Matt can make that progression back to where he was or better, and then if he does, the next year expect him to take another leap. And now we're looking and saying, "Yep, we've got our guy. We can go forward. If D Hop walks after that, it's fine because we can draft guys get in." And for me, the other big thing was getting D Hop in to train Taekwon, to show Taekwon how to be a better number one, maybe even number two, depending where he ends up.
Taekwon's more of a 2
could
guy.
be.
He's one of those Brandon Cooks type of players. He's faster than Cooks,
Yeah.
but like what
I think he maybe we'll see. Maybe he could develop into a 1B type receiver, like a
Yeah.
Godwin, right? Like a Godwin
Mhm.
would be considered on a lot of teams a 1, but
Yeah.
not really a 1A. So I think he may be a 1B if he had the right coaching and he had like the way he's progressed over his 2
Yeah.
years now. So,
No, I mean, again, I agree with you. D Hop not being on the Patriots kind of sucks. It's a huge loss for the Patriots. Like, if they were gonna make one move this offseason, that would have been it. Like
Yeah.
that would have been it for me. But again, I've been on record stating that I don't mind our weapons. Like, I think they're a little bit underrated. I think people really hate on the Patriots' weapons for less than spectacular reasons. I don't think they're like top 10, but I think they're top 20, somewhere in there, like 21, 22, 20, like 19, anywhere in that
we'll
range.
get one of those running backs that's available.
Yeah, if we wouldn't get Delvin Cook, that'd be a huge W. But
Please don't.
Find a way to get Saquon.
yeah, find a way to get Saquon because he's sitting with a franchise tag. I will. Bill Belichick will give Saquon 2 years, $16 million guaranteed.
Yep. Oh yeah.
2
Hey, we
years,
did it
32
for-
mil. Give me it.
Hey, we'll do what we did with Jabril Peppers after he left.
Yes.
After he was
I have a lot to say about Saquon when it comes to it.
But like, obviously, I mean, I know that we're throwing around Tannehill and Mac. I don't think we need to get into that because it's just not a conversation we need to have.
No.
I wasn't going to.
No, I know.
Just know that
but-
Kyle's wrong. That's it.
But like, good for Titans fans. Good for the Titans organization. Mike Vrabel was going to get this team to be competitive regardless. Let's be very, very real.
Wait, can I say
yeah,
one
yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
Jake? Can we just all laugh at the fact that they were like, you know what? Let's get rid of AJ Brown.
Bro,
Just to go
fucking
get
stupid.
Dude, that's what I was
Stupid.
gonna bring up.
What?
Like
So-
their GM.
You don't want
is
to pay him, but let's
stupid.
pay D-Hop when he's old. Like, yeah, he's gonna be good, but he's old. You could have had AJ for like what, another 5
Bro,
years.
so
at
If
least.
AJ Brown never goes to Philadelphia, I don't think Jalen Hurts is considered a top 6 QB. I'm not
No,
gonna
Correct.
fucking lie to you, but
I
like,
agree.
I know that Andrew
Devontae
probably
Smith number
disagrees
one.
with me, but
So
but Devontae Smith still would have raced him. But Devontae Smith's that, like you said, he's that 1B type
Yeah.
guy. Like he can't take over as a 1.
like
type
he's
guy.
a
like
he's
there's-
like a number 14-1, but when you have AJ
Yeah.
Brown, it just elevates you to a whole nother level.
there's
Oh, yeah.
a reason why wide receivers get paid higher than running backs because they elevate their quarterbacks more.
I don't think
I will
I don't
get
think
to that.
anybody was arguing.
You should
that.
be. You should. Are you looking at Twitter, Jake?
No, I'm not looking at Twitter. That place is fucking toxic.
That's why it's great.
It's so much fun.
That's why you start looking at
Sure.
threads.
Speaking
Well,
of
yeah.
running backs, let's move
Hold on.
into the. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Kyle. Go
Really
ahead.
quick about
I know where you're going with this.
D-Hop. I just wanted to bring up one key statistic about Ryan Tannehill. In the 3 years that he did play with AJ Brown, who is clearly a number 1 wide receiver, he had the 3 best years of his career.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
like a number 1 wide receiver, it clearly does elevate a quarterback. So that's why I do think Tannehill is going to have a fine year. He's going to have a way better year than he did last year. 'Cause it's just it's
Is
just
he,
clear.
though?
Yes, Andrew, he's going to have.
Yeah.
As
He's
long
gonna
as their
have an
line
amazing-
as long as their line is even slightly better,
Yeah,
he should have a much better
he's-
year.
Well,
He's
they're
going
going
to
to
have
have
a
him Henry too.
Who did they bring in to replace Taylor Lewan? Or
They
not
didn't
Taylor
have.
Lewan.
They had a.
Yeah.
I forget who it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a
Well,
huge
well-
deal. Taylor Lewan didn't play well last year anyway.
No,
Yeah.
He played like
regardless,
shit.
Didn't
ha-
he
ha-
have
Return.
it?
having-
You know what he had?
Yeah, he had that 5-sack game against the Falcons early in the
Oh,
year.
he let Chandler Jones. Yeah, he let Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
He let somebody absolutely annihilate him
What?
last year.
Doesn't
Sorry,
Taylor Warren
Kyle.
have
You
cancer or
you
something?
Kyle.
no,
making a
no,
point.
you're good. No, you guys are great. My point about what's his face, Deion
Ryan
Graham is
Tannehill
done.
and
Ryan
D-Hop
Hill,
went-
Ryan, AJ, what the fuck am I talking about? Holy shit. D-Hop will elevate Tannehill to be better than he was last year. That's essentially where I was going
Even
with that.
with this move, I think the Jaguars win the NFC South. Hot, bold take.
I-
by the way.
AFC
Bang.
South.
AFC South. Sorry.
I think.
I mean, the
I think
Jags
it
or the
would be
Titans
close.
would win the NFC
I don't
South.
think that's that bold of a take, to be honest.
No,
It's not.
I think
it's not. But
I think it's a little bit closer now than it was last week.
oh, probably yeah.
I think it's a little
all
bit
right.
closer.
Let's
But anyway.
talk about Saquon and Josh Jacobs here with no contracts
Okay.
on the table and not signing their franchise tenders. I'll start.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on.
I'll start.
I prepared an essay, Jake.
No, both of these
Damn
teams
it.
are fucked without these running backs, and I don't care what anybody says.
I don't think
both
the
of these-
Raiders are.
I think the
I don't
Raiders
think
are
the Raiders-
absolutely fucked. Josh
I'll get to
Jacobs,
it.
besides Devontae Adams,
get
was
to
the
it.
lone bright spot on that team last year, and they don't
get
have a
to it.
fucking quarterback. So Josh
I'll get
Jacobs,
to it.
quite literally, went for 1,600 yards last year, and as long as he stays healthy, has no reason not to go for 1,400 this year. The Raiders are absolutely fucked without Josh Jacobs in the lineup. The Giants, in a similar situation, are absolutely
Bring me
fucked
Josh
without
Jacobs.
Saquon in the lineup. It's not about maybe running backs being as valuable at this point. It's about the running backs' values to those teams. Saquon is the guy in New York, and Josh Jacobs is the guy in Oakland. Like, Saquon, Saquon was the best player on their offense, and they got to the playoffs last year.
Not talking about Saquon. I meant Josh Jacobs. At the moment, he's not the best player on the Raiders. He's not.
Okay, Devontae Adams is there, but like,
Yeah.
without a quarterback, Josh Jacobs makes more of an impact, and they don't have one because Jimmy Garoppolo's still hurt, and
But
and
Brian
Brian Hoyer ain't making plays, dog. Not at 38 years old.
he'll be enough. He will be enough to get the ball to Devontae. He'll be enough. Yes, he will.
Bro can barely throw a 15-yard out route.
On a slant route?
I mean, Devontae's a great slant route runner, but
That's McDaniel's a specialty calling plays, man. He did that for Brady's whole career.
okay,
All
no.
career
The
they were-
argument that
No.
Tom Brady is a dink and dunk champion is absolutely fucking fabricated.
That's
and
not
I
where I
don't-
was going with this. So
No,
regardless,
they're absolutely
keep going.
fucking fabricated.
Keep
no,
going.
I'm just like these teams. Literally, Josh Jacobs and Saquon add 3 to 5 wins a year for these teams. If this was the Dallas Cowboys and we're talking about Ezekiel Elliott, I think it's a different conversation, right? If it's the 49ers and we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, it's a slightly different conversation because Kyle Shanahan is that good and their team is that good. The Giants roster, for lack of a better term, has a ton of weak spots. And I think even they will admit that, and they get the best out of their players. I admire that, but they still have a ton of weak spots. And the Raiders do too. The Raiders are not like a very solid team. They outside of Devontae and Josh Jacobs, and Colton Miller, and Max Crosby. Like they have pieces, but that's it. They have 4 really, really good players, and then the rest of their team is kind of like, I could give or take it.
They have Jacoby Myers.
I could give or take him. I told you that I wanted Juju instead of Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
And Hunter
The
Renfro didn't
trainer
look very
anyway.
good
Throwback-
last year. Hunter
throwback
Renfro didn't
to
look great last year.
Don't
They're
forget
all
Derek
back
Carr.
to-
Derek Carr didn't look great either.
Derek
At all
Carr sucked last year.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
But like like the way they
Anyway.
played last year, like as compared to this past season.
well, no, I'm not saying that Hunter
was
Renfro's
utilized.
bad.
No, he was utilized much more in that slot position, but now like he's
Hunter Renfro was a lot better when he was the number 1 after what's his face
Oh,
got
that's
arrested.
Oh,
to be
Ruggs?
fair.
after
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs got arrested.
All right.
And
Yeah.
they still
That's-
have Brian Edwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's my take. I think both of these teams
Okay.
are fucked without their star running backs. You could have paid Saquon $16 million and nobody would have questioned it. Go ahead, Kyle.
So I did some research because I wanted to actually
That's
see.
dangerous.
It is dangerous because this might be my best argument I've ever came up with.
Oh boy.
So I did some. I looked into this a little because I wanted to know truthfully why the Giants didn't decide to sign their best player. Because Saquon is, I'm not an idiot. He is their best player on this roster. 100%.
Plus, he's younger than most people who are coming
Yes.
up on their second contract. He's only 25, 26.
Yes, 26, I believe. Year older
Yeah.
than us, I believe. So
Wow.
That's
I
fucking
wanted
wild.
to know why this team with their best player really didn't want to pay him. And here's the reason. In the past 20 years, the leading rusher for every Super Bowl champion, except for 6 teams, made up less than 1% of the cap.
I think you're not
Less than-
taking into a full account of
Oh,
what
hold on.
goes on there.
Oh, hold on, Jake. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me speak it all out here. I gotta paint the general picture, okay?
Go ahead.
So, of the past 20 seasons, only 6 players made up more than 1% of the cap. Only 2 of them made up more than 3% of the cap.
Okay.
Only 1 of them made up more than 5% of the cap. But that
That
one
was
player who
Marshawn
made
Lynch,
up
right?
it was Marshawn Lynch. In the past 10 years, 0 running backs were more than 1% of the cap that won a Super Bowl. The point that I'm making with this is that the overall goal a team has to look at when building a Super Bowl contending roster is how they can fit in overall pieces. Of the past 10 years, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Chiefs again, the Patriots, the Eagles, and the Patriots, what is something they all have in common?
Good quarterbacks.
In 7 of them,
Bingo.
no,
Thank
in
you,
7 of
Austin.
them it was Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes.
Hold on.
So
Thank you,
you're
Austin.
you're
hold
ignoring
on,
something.
Hold on,
No,
hold
you're
on.
ignoring something.
Jake, let me finish the
You
whole
said
thing.
good quarterbacks.
Hold
Nick
on.
Foles
Yes.
sucks.
Let me. I'm gonna climb through this camera and strangle you. All right. Of the past 20 years,
I'll pay
hold
to
on.
see this.
Of the past 20
Pay per
years,
view.
19 of them had a top 10 quarterback on their roster. Top
Yeah,
10 in the
nobody's
league.
arguing that. Nobody's
Yeah,
arguing
hold-
good quarterbacks.
Jake.
Go ahead.
Holy shit. Oh my god. The one outlier is obviously Nick Foles.
Yeah, 'cause he
although
sucks dick.
I would say that I think the Eagles still had a chance to win the Super Bowl that year with Carson Wentz, who I would argue was a borderline top 10 quarterback that year, the way he played in the league. Besides the point, the reason I brought all of that up, and Emmanuel Acho also was bringing up this point on his show from Fox, is that a team needs to look at what to build for their roster to be a contender. And the one piece, other than an amazing defense, is having a top 10 quarterback. Back in November, right around the bye, the Giants offered Saquon $13 million plus incentives. He obviously declined it, and immediately the Giants pivoted to re-signing Daniel Jones.
Oh.
Whether or not, I'm not getting into the argument whether or not I think Daniel Jones is a top 10, because I don't. The team obviously sees something in him. Sees something enough in him to extend him over Saquon. So the way that the Giants looked at this, and the way I think the Raiders kind of want to look at this with Josh Jacobs, is they don't want to build around a player who doesn't have as much overall value to a Super Bowl winning team, which is evident in the past 20 years, is that on their roster. They want to instead elevate and pay the position that does have the most, and only one example, there's only one outlier the entire 20 years. So I think that's what the teams are looking at. Do I personally agree that should be the decision? No, I don't. I think running backs are heavily undervalued in this league. And while there are examples of teams where they don't need a number one running back to win, there are still 6 examples that they do need a number one running back to win. And there are plenty of examples where number one running backs will get you to at least a conference championship. We've seen it time and time again. Joe Mixon brought the Bengals there, etc., etc. I can
Derrick
go on
Henry.
and on and on. Derrick Henry brought the Titans there, exactly. Like, we've seen it time and time again where star running backs can at least elevate their team to get there enough. So I think what is happening, and it's happened league wide. This isn't a new situation. It happened with Le'Veon Bell 5 years ago, right? So
Something like
2018. And it was 2018 is when it happened, when he held out.
And then
The
he was
team-
trash.
He was, which was hilarious. A team just looks at the running back position and goes, "We can win without a star at your position." So I'm sorry,
The Giants
we like
can't.
you. I know, I'm getting there. Hold on, I'm gonna close out my argument with that exact thing. We like you as a player, but unfortunately, we and the league also thinks we can win without a star at your position. So we're going to try. The thing that will hurt the Giants more so than the Raiders, and why I was arguing, I kind of differed with you, Jake, is because unlike the Raiders, the Giants do not have a superstar wide receiver. The Giants do not have superstar core defense. The Giants do not have a decent offensive line. The Giants also don't have a top 10 quarterback, unlike every
They
other.
also now don't have Saquon Barkley.
I see the method. The whole point of why I just did that whole entire spiel was that I see the method the Giants and the Raiders are trying to do. In fruition, it's going to hurt both teams this year. In the long run, I think they will be fine.
So you're telling me is the Giants have no top anything.
Yes.
I also think that
Correct.
I also think that, we're ignoring some context there because a lot of star running backs end up on teams with very bad quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Peterson had Christian Ponder. Derrick Henry has fucking Ryan Tannehill, who is not bad, but he's mid. He's mid.
He's not a top 10. I
he's
agree.
mid.
He's a game manager. Let's be real.
I mean, even going back to Jamal Charles had Alex Smith. Chris Johnson had Marcus Mariota, who wasn't very good in the NFL.
But
Actually, was it Jake Locker
Brock
back
Purdy.
But Jake, but that's the thing.
Christian
Put this out there.
McCaffrey and Brock Purdy.
But
And
The biggest example.
the point is that the
merit
running
of your
backs
argument.
didn't elevate the thing. The running backs therefore
they
didn't
did, though.
elevate those, but they didn't elevate the quarterbacks to a win. That's the whole point. They didn't
But they
elevate
did.
them.
Adrian Peterson made
but-
two conference championship games.
but
He
they
never
didn't
went to a Super Bowl because the team sucked.
But that's the point, Jake. A quarterback is the reason you win the Super Bowl. The running back isn't. The running back can only elevate you so far. The quarterback is the entirety, with the exception of Big Dick Nick. Literally the one exception in the last 20 years. You need a top 10 quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Also, you're
You
ignoring
do
the
not-
fact that Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes account for like 6 of those Super Bowls.
They're still top 10. Are they not top 10?
They're the best quarterbacks in the league. It's just different.
It's not different, though. It means you need a top 10 quarterback.
Ignoring
Jake,
the fact
I
that
don't-
Sony Michel was huge to the Patriots' playoff run in that.
Yes,
because Tom
Sony
Brady
was.
blew in that playoff run. Let's be
But
real.
he wasn't a top
But
10
he was-
running back.
Sony Michel
That
also
year, I mean,
was
he
less
wasn't
than
like a top-
1%.
I'm not saying he wasn't. No,
I
I just think
think-
we're ignoring a lot of context and value,
Well,
and I get the
I think-
argument, I
yeah.
get the merit, I just don't fucking agree with it. I hate it.
This is to piggyback off of Kyle a little bit. I think he's not exactly wrong. It
No,
definitely
I'm not
the way
saying
that-
he is wrong.
the way that teams, whether or not like there's more context, and I agree with you, Jake, on that. I think he's right in the fact that this is what teams look at either way. Like it just has to be because who do they pay, right? We all know that obviously the most important position is the quarterback. I would say honestly, after that, the next important position to me would be, or not position, but like impact to a winning team or a championship team would be your defense, right? We all know that in the playoffs, defense wins. So I would go quarterback to get you the whole team playing well, because a good quarterback impacts the defense and then wanting to go into the trenches and hit hard. Yes, I don't think you can do as well without a good run game, but we have seen the Pats be able to get by where it wasn't that they didn't have a good run game as a unit overall, but
Yeah.
where you didn't have star running backs. We had James White at years where he carried us in either games or playoffs, where we had stuff
And
like that. Like you said,
again,
Sony
I'm not
Michel
saying,
was never
like-
a great.
Again, I'm not trying to argue that Kyle's wrong in any way, because I get the merit of it. I just fucking hate it, and I think it ignores a lot of context when it comes to star running backs.
Yeah, I think they
Like,
should get paid
Saquon
more. but-
hasn't won because Daniel Jones has been his fucking quarterback the entire time he's
I-
there, and then he had Joe Judge as his head coach.
Yeah,
Like-
I think it's mostly on Joe Judge
Like-
and Daniel Jones, to be honest.
Adrian
But yes.
Peterson, who the fuck was the head coach in Minnesota? Was it still Mike Zimmer? Yeah.
I think
okay.
so,
I
yeah.
think it was
Yeah.
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, fucking exactly.
I
Let's see.
think there's definitely a lot of context, like you're saying, but
Yeah.
or context. But the bigger thing is when we're talking about are they going to pay these guys? One, they see most GMs probably see them as replaceable because you can go get any guy
Like-
pretty much out of. If you have
Yeah.
a good offensive line, you can go get anybody. Look at Michelle or other
Yeah,
guys.
but there aren't a lot
Put a
of
good
good
line.
offensive lines in the league. Like the Eagles.
No,
are the
no,
ones that come to
agree,
mind and stuff,
agree. But like you can go get. It's easier, I would say, to go get a decent running back.
no,
with
it is.
a line and do well that
Yeah.
season versus going out and getting obviously a star quarterback because that's
Yeah.
way harder, or
I
even
also-
a star receiver.
Again, when it comes to Saquon specifically, right? The Cowboys paid Zeke when he was like 27, 28. He was.
It was after his rookie year, wasn't it?
It was
I
after. It wasn't right
No.
after his rookie year. No.
No, it was- okay.
It was a few years.
It was
after.
year 3, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
The extension didn't kick in until he was like 27, 28.
Yeah.
Saquon's gonna be 26. He's younger, and honestly, I wouldn't have paid Zeke because you could see consistently year after year that he was losing
Yep.
a step. Like it wasn't like he was consistently producing 1,600-yard seasons. Saquon, on the other hand, didn't play football for a year and then didn't take a shit ton of hits last year. So acting like Saquon's got miles on him is not inherently correct to me. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, I think there's a bigger argument to be made. I think he's just as valuable to the Raiders as Saquon is to the Giants.
I think he's injury prone too, so that's a problem.
Yeah, and so, like, I could see the argument with Josh Jacobs. When it comes to Saquon specifically, like, paying him $16 million is not astronomically out of the realm of possibility to me. So I get why he's standing on the principle. I really do.
The problem with that, though, is that $16 million is then 4% of the cap next year.
And, how much room do you have?
That's a lot. We have, like, not much.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
They decided to pay Daniel Jones.
So no, even with when we offered it, Daniel Jones is not the problem with that contract. We were in cap hell before. We had to pick and choose who we were giving the extension to. Regardless who we gave the extension to.
Yeah, they paid a fucking D tackle, but they won't pay the goddamn running back.
Thanks, Dave fucking Gettleman. Gettleman's the fucking idiot. He's the reason we're in this whole. If Gettleman didn't do everything he did before, we wouldn't have any issues. But like, we have to pick and choose. And when it comes to a star running back, like I mentioned, only 6 were making more than 1% of the cap. So you have to pick and choose. And unfortunately, Joe Schoen looked at the situation, goes, Saquon will offer you 13 mil, which is like 4% of the cap. He tried making wiggle room. Saquon said, no, I want to make a little bit more than McCaffrey. And Schoen said, I'm sorry.
Almost as much as McCaffrey. He didn't say more than.
Because McCaffrey's making more than 16, isn't he?
No, he's making
with
16.
Incentives. He is, yes.
With
making 16
base is
even.
16, right?
Yes, yeah. So he wanted to make slightly about or more. He didn't want to reset the market, which I get. That's great. But Joe Schoen's like, I'm sorry, as the situation this team has, we can't do it. We have to pick one or two, and you have to pick the one who you have to pick the position that would win you more. And whether or not, I'm not trying to get into the argument about Daniel Jones. That's
it's fine.
I'm not going to. It's the position value. I do want to end with Saquon. You are my favorite player on this team, and I will miss you. Thank you for being a New York Giant. I am going to cry myself. Bro. I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight.
How dare you wear that Saquon jersey and argue he doesn't deserve to be paid?
I did. Whoa, that's not what I said.
I am ready to argue about who the greatest college quarterback of all time is. Y'all know I've been waiting for this one.
Oh, man.
It's not close.
It's not fucking close. You're right. We probably have different fucking answers, and that's going to be hilarious about this. All right, guys. So I did my own criteria. I don't know what criteria you guys are working off of, and that is perfectly fine. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Honestly, you can give me any reason you want. You can give me any name you want. I'm not going to be upfront about who mine is. I'll probably go last because I have a shit ton of information ready to go and rearing. Alphabetical order. Andrew, why don't you start, buddy? Let's go.
Give me 1 second. I got to pull up my information.
Okay. Austin, do you have this ready to go?
I'll let him go first. I'm curious who he's going to have, but he
all right.
probably has it right away.
I mean, a lot of us probably have the same answer. I might be wrong.
Probably. Though. Well, I feel like Kyle's is different.
Kyle's probably... I should probably let Kyle go first. That would be the
No. Mine is too good to not go first. To go first, I mean.
This dude's about to say Stetson Bennett.
Oh, Kyle? Kyle? Yeah, we already know that. All right, I got my
fucking hilarious. Go ahead, Andrew. Let's go.
My all-time quarterback right now is Marcus Mariota.
Okay.
Heisman winner, first-round pick. Really played his first 3 seasons at Oregon. Wow, I cannot believe I just said Oklahoma. But at Oregon was basically a starter his freshman year, sophomore and junior year. Drafted in the 2014 season. Had a stellar year. What was his QBR rating? His percentage-wise was about 65% throughout his 3 years playing in Oregon. Completed 105 touchdowns to 14 interception throughout his whole entire college career. I think that puts him right there on the top tier list for me as a top quarterback of all times.
That's an interesting choice. Oh man, I had like a list of 25 players I compared, and Marcus Mariota is not on that list. He's not
I don't
on
know,
the
man.
list.
I'm not expecting that either.
I love him.
I was not expect. I love Marcus Mariota. I just wasn't expecting that.
I loved him in college. He was so much better than he was in the NFL.
I respect the choice.
I think throwing him to the Titans was the worst idea for his career because he kind of got thrown to the wolves. He performed well in his first couple seasons, and then he just flopped.
But yeah, I mean the wide receiver room in Tennessee has never been spectacular.
No,
So,
yeah.
like, oh man, Austin, what you got for me, buddy?
There's honestly a lot of great quarterbacks you could go off of. There's Vince Young. There's people would want to say Tim Tebow because the way, even though he wasn't a great quarterback, but he won. So, but you could talk about whether or not that was him or those interesting players he had around him. You could obviously go Johnny Football. I'm going to go with somebody that I think is an interesting pick. And I pick him just because I wanted to be a little different, but he has some merit to him. Graham Harrell from Texas Tech.
Bro, I can't believe you just fucking said Graham Harrell. I'm done. I'm fucking done. Close it out. This dude wins fucking nothing, and he puts up Graham Harrell. Fuck you.
I love it. I had to be so different, and I wanted to do it.
Oh my god, give me your reasons. Just fucking tell me.
So, passing yards per game, he had 367 in a game for his career. All right, that's pretty good, right? Honestly, I mean, there's really not that much to him.
He threw a lot of passes. He was in an air raid offense that threw like 60 passes a game.
He had like 36.5 touchdowns per year when he was there, and he had that great throw to Michael Crabtree that when the Red Raiders beat the Texas Longhorns, who were number 1 in 2008. They did finish that year ranked number 12 in the AP Bowl and went to the Cotton Bowl and everything. So is he actually the greatest ever?
I mean,
no, not really.
Just so you know, that's not a hot take. I saw him in like 2 or 3 that had.
Yep.
I excluded him from the list that I was doing because I was like, no, that's not a fucking thing. Absolutely not.
I know. I knew. It's kind of funny when I was doing all this. I was like, really, people really like Graham Harrell that high?
Like,
and
don't get me wrong. I respect Graham Harrell. I loved him when he was at Texas Tech, but I wouldn't consider him like a top 5 college quarterback of all time.
I know. What's funny is like Bleacher Report doesn't even have like Vince Young and other guys like that. That a lot.
They have like Baker. They have Graham Harrell. They had
Manziel and Graham Harrell 1 and 2, which is kind of funny. So
that is weird.
I had to do it because I knew I wanted to.
If you're talking like publicity wise, yeah, Johnny Manziel's up there with everybody. I mean, somebody may pick Johnny Manziel at this point. Kyle, go ahead, hit me with this most anticipated. It's not close argument.
So I was telling them briefly who it is. I gave them a sneak preview because I was absolutely furious when his name was already said. But it was Marcus Mariota is who I was going with.
Y'all are no. What the hell?
Mine was actually a meme, but I'm surprised these two are real.
No. So the reason I did this, because he has the second lowest interception percentage in NCAA history. He also obviously was a 3-year starter, won the Heisman Trophy. He led the Oregon Ducks to the actual championship.
And didn't win.
No, but he led it there. But his numbers are also... Winning isn't everything, Jake. Calm down.
It is.
Stop it.
Yes, it is.
No.
Oh my lord!
What?
I always told my friends that.
But he has insane numbers throughout his entire career. But now, since my thing was taken for the meme, because I actually just looked up his numbers, and they actually aren't that bad. Trace McSorley, actually.
I hate all of you right now.
He is actually pretty good.
The only one who is even remotely close in consensus list is Graham fucking Harrell. Are you kidding me right now?
No, nuh-uh. You're insane.
Trace fucking McSorley.
Wait. We never said it had to be. We didn't have specific criteria for this. So
we don't. We're talking about the greatest college quarterback of all time, and you're giving me people who never won championships. Besides Mariota, never won. Mariota might have won a Heisman, but he didn't win.
He did win a Heisman.
Won a Heisman, yeah. Like Trace McSorley never won either, and was never the best quarterback in his own conference. Never mind the greatest quarterback in college history.
between his 3 years, he went to bowl games all 3 years. Like,
Yeah, a lot of guys
he
can
was
say
a
that.
top quarterback though. He was
Dude,
a
you get to go
top-tier
to you can go to a bowl game if you're 500. So
Yeah, you go to bowl games at 6-6.
Yeah, but like
Anyway,
Like Christian
anyway.
Hackenberg would have went to bowl games too, but his team was suspended. Okay, let the
So who's
let
the
real men talk
actual-
now. Yeah, who's the actual best college quarterback of all time? Bro, it's Tim fucking Tebow. It's not fucking close. It's not fucking close. I'm not
it's
gonna be
Cam
fancy
Newton.
here.
It's Cam Newton.
Cam Newton has an argument for the greatest college football season of all time and is on this list that I have compiled of 25 separate quarterbacks. Now let me tell you something about Mr. Tim Tebow, Mr. Jesus Christ worshiper himself. Tim Tebow had 9,285 passing yards with 88 touchdowns and 2,947 rushing yards with 57 touchdowns for a total of 145 total TDs over his career, which out of the list that I compared was tied first with fucking Kellen Moore, who, mind you, is an underrated quarterback in his own right.
Yep.
I ranked that the second best career statistically, besides Kellen Moore, who, had more passing yards, more passing touchdowns, yada, yada, yada. Had more total yards. Tim Tebow also won a Heisman. And for those of you who say he wasn't a great quarterback, he won a Davey O'Brien, which means he was the best quarterback in college football. He won a Maxwell twice, meaning he was the best offensive player in college football at one point in his career. And he won 2 national championships with a record of 35-6. On a 20-point scale, he earned 19 points. The next highest was Kellen Moore, or was it Kellen Moore or Joe Burrow? Kellen Moore at 13, Joe Burrow at 12, Colt McCoy tied with 12, Cam Newton at 9, Charlie Ward with 7, Lamar Jackson tied at 7, Vinny Testaverde at 6, RG3 tied at 6, Tommy Frazier at 5, and Deshaun Watson tied at 5 to round out your top 10. Trevor Lawrence came in right behind Deshaun Watson. Johnny Manziel came in behind that. So did Matt Leinart. Peyton Manning came in behind that. And there's a slew of players who got 0, including Dan Marino, Doug Flutie, Andrew Luck, Vince Young, Joe Namath, Jameis Winston, Johnny Luchak, Mike Vick, Roger Staubach, and John Elway. It's fucking Tim Tebow, and you can't tell me otherwise. God damn.
Trace McSorley for the win.
Throw it on a
Put
dime.
on a dime. Like, I'm trying.
Bro,
Oh,
I would have respected him more if you said Ian Book. That's how bad that take is.
No, stop it.
At least Marcus Mariota's cognizable, had really good stats. His yards are there.
Hey. That's why
He
I
is
put
not
him first.
included. He is not included on many of those lists, by the way. Just so you're
No.
ready. I think
I know.
I think he should be. He just isn't included on those lists for some reason. By the way, if those of you who don't know who Johnny Luchak is, that's a good thing because he played for Notre Dame in the 1940s and won 3 straight national championships. The man threw for only just over 2,000 yards in his entire career and had more interceptions than passing touchdowns. But apparently he belongs on the list because he won 3 national titles in the 1940s.
I mean, you just said championships matter, so.
They do. They matter a lot, actually.
And they matter if they come from one of the blue bloods. And
For the record, Kellen Moore was 50-3 in his career, which is
Kellen Moore was
fucking
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
he's
The
ridiculous.
fact that people label Graham Harrell above Kellen Moore makes me sick. Makes me absolutely sick.
I was gonna say Kellen Moore, and I was like, nah, I gotta give him Graham Harrell because I know he'll hate it.
Oh man, Trevor Lawrence is also up there. This is it is an actual debate, but Tim Tebow cleared the field when it comes to stats and accolades. The accolades that I counted. So Heisman's, Davey O'Brien's, Maxwell's, national titles. And yes, Tim Tebow had a wonderful team around him, but saying that he wasn't a good quarterback, Austin, is absolutely asinine.
I was saying that because that's what people say.
I know it's a joke, but God.
I actually liked him when he was with the Broncos. I mean, he wasn't amazing, but
He was
I liked him
awful
in
at the Broncos. He was awful in the NFL. He was great at Florida, though. Now, Kyle, from what I understand, you have a question for us.
I do. Before
Unequivocally, the greatest college quarterback of all time is Tim Tebow, by the way.
it's Marcus Mariota, but anyway. All right. Does anyone else have anything else to go over before
Marcus
I do?
Mariota was even the best quarterback during his time at Oregon. Jameis Winston was winning titles and Heisman's at Florida State. No, go ahead.
and getting W's.
He also has the title for the worst pregame speech of all time.
You guys see this? That's a W. Let's eat one.
Yeah, I gotta know what he
Oh.
meant by that. I need
I love Jameis
Oh.
Winston, dude. A source of infinite entertainment and actually good at football. But okay,
good.
let's go.
Anyway, all right. So the question to end it, I want you all to think back of a time when your favorite team lost a heartbreaker in a
I hate
championship,
you. I hate you.
and I want
hate
you to
for
go
this.
into: would you change it to have your favorite team win the championship that year, and why? So
At the cost of what?
Yeah, because
nothing.
otherwise,
No
yes.
cost. No,
Then-
nothing. You have to pick one. And only one team, one championship you can think of,
Okay,
and have
so
it be
out
a
of
win.
all
Bro,
of
this
the-
is
So out of
easy,
all
yeah.
of you, out of all of your favorite teams across college, professional sports, all sports, only one team that lost in the championship turned
Yeah,
it
this
into
is
a
easy.
win.
This is
Which one
easy.
would
I
you
won't
do?
say it
Can-
if somebody
can I
else
take-
says it, but like,
Can
Wait.
I take like a tournament run spot where they could have gone to the finals? In
Sure.
one?
Sure.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Andrew, go ahead, start, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what year it was, but the United States, when they went into that third
Mm.
place game for the World
Yep.
Cup, where we could have won
What
our
was that?
first World Cup,
Was
it
that
was
oh,
like 94. I thought it was 94.
oh yeah, maybe you're
Oh,
right.
you got to be
like-
alive for it. Hold on. You got to
No,
be
no,
alive.
it
it
is-
is-
no, that wasn't
I'm
part of the
saying it now.
criteria.
No, hold on.
Whoa, whoa,
Okay.
whoa.
Oh,
That wasn't part of
Alright.
the criteria.
It is now. You have to be alive to witness it.
now you gotta make
Wretch-
me rethink.
No, Andrew's
That's fine.
answer's
Andrew's is
valid.
fine.
For now, we have to be
But
alive for it.
you have
Andrew's
to be
answer's
alive.
valid.
Andrew, while yours is valid, come up with another one for when you were alive. We'll get back to you on it. Austin, go.
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
for me, then it's the Pats' perfect season.
Yeah, 2007
Uh,
Patriots. I mean,
Yep, like
I'm not gonna say it because you said it, Austin. But yeah,
Okay.
I think that's self-explanatory. My answer is going to be the 2008 BC Virginia Tech Conference Championship game because if BC wins that game, they go to the national title game for the first time in however many years. It would have been their first BCS title game, and I am very salty that Virginia Tech beat us. Still.
Still to this day, Jake.
Still.
Justin, what do you got?
So I actually had to look this over, and I was a little bit surprised that I saw that the Patriots were 4 years in a row in the Super Bowl. I was trying. I
they
was.
swapped winning and losing for 4 years.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that. I had to debate between the Patriots versus the Broncos because that game infuriated me, and the game that was the Eagles versus the Patriots. I would, as much as I would have loved for us to beat the Broncos, and I still probably would choose that. I would rather have us win 3 years in a row. By beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though I don't even know if anyone deserved to win in the 2019 game, as there was like only one or maybe even no touchdowns that game.
one. Yeah.
There was
There was
one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
one.
a 13-3. That was the most pathetic Super Bowl.
Actually, I
it.
loved it.
Really?
I
It was
loved it.
so boring.
Yeah, see, you're with the majority here.
Jake,
I love
Jake and I were watching the game together that night.
Yes, we were, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful. I was like, this is beautiful defense. It's absolutely wonderful. It is my favorite thing on the
It
planet.
kept me on the edge of my seat because I was anticipating
Bro,
a score to happen at any
One
moment.
big
and then
one
it was-
big play changes the entire game. And
Yeah.
like the entire
the
time.
Gronk play changed everything. That
Like, if
Gronk-
you're not
Back to
on
back
the-
seams.
I
Back to
don't-
back
yeah.
seams.
If you are not on the edge of your seat when the game is 6-3, I don't know what you were looking at.
Anyway,
Honestly, that's more intense than when it's 36-33.
Yeah, because you just know the other offense is gonna score. Like,
Yep.
Andrew, do you have a replacement yet?
I do. I have the Celtics in the finals, the most recent one that they were just in.
Oh, fair.
Winning the
Yeah.
championship against the Warriors.
Fair enough.
Because fuck their dynasty. Fuck the Warriors dynasty right now.
I also
Honestly,
think if
if
they
it
win
was-
last year, they probably get in this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
also,
yeah.
I think for me, if I was gonna go with the Celtics, it would have to be when they lost to
09.
the Lakers. Yeah.
Oh 09.
Yeah. The 09
That's
Lakers
fair.
lost.
Just
I
to
don't
get
know,
back at the Lakers
Because,
and Kobe.
I mean, we beat them in 08, so I mean, I
Exactly.
feel like I'm with Andrew with the Celtics when I want to take in the Warriors win.
Fair
But,
enough.
all right, Kyle, we all know that you're looking at it.
Mine is easy for me. It's when
Because
the
your teams don't go
cheating,
to the championship anyway. But
Oh,
anytime,
listen. See
It's
that
not
banner?
always fun.
Back-to-back champions. I have a team that has won recently.
bro, they're not even from your region. You just chose to be a Georgia Bulldog fan. That's
I've been
bullshit.
I've been a Bulldog fan for years, for the record.
Oh, are
but
you
anyway,
doing it where they lost to the Alabama Crimson Tide?
I am not. I am not picking them because
it's
I've
gonna
seen
be a
them.
Yankees thing.
It
Yep,
is.
Yep.
It is
That's
going to be a
2017.
Yankees one, and it's going to be 2017 because that absolutely broke my heart when the Astros won. But I was even more infuriated when I found out that they cheated to get there. I was in Austin's room when we ended up losing the final game.
Yep.
And
You and I, dude. Oh, you and I were just like, well, what is this?
We were
Game
so
7 and the
pissed.
what? Was it the 8th when they hit the?
Yeah, eighth.
I think it was the 8th, and we were up too, and I was like, we
Yeah.
needed 6 outs.
I was so mad.
So
that
mad.
was that was definitely a heartbreaker for me. So 100%.
And we had just beaten one of the best regular season teams ever with those freaking Indians.
Yep.
Bro, there are a lot
Yeah.
of disappointing situations for sports fans. Let's be real. Let's be
There
real.
are.
Kyle,
This year
thank
with the
you for bringing up
Patriots,
painful,
or not the
awful
Patriots, the
memories.
Bruins.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up painful, awful memories.
You're welcome.
No, actually,
Happy
great
fun.
question. I think that's a beautiful question looking at the insight. On that note, guys, if there's nothing left to say, make sure you go follow us on all our social medias, High School Backups, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know to subscribe to the channel, like, comment on the video. Tell us how we did. Tell us if you like the content. You can all tell them that I'm right about the greatest college quarterback of all time, and the rest of these dudes are
Trace
incorrect.
McSorley.
I think the
It's-
best argument here is
Right.
Marcus Mariota, and that is not what I was expecting today.
Whoa, whoa, hold on.
Graham
Graham
Harrell
has an
Graham Harrell has
actual.
like, I don't know where people think Graham Harrell is. The greatest.
I don't know
Maybe,
why they
like,
actually.
like statistically, maybe he's up there, but he threw 65 times a fucking game. It does like whatever. I'm not getting into this. We already talked about it. On that note, guys, see you next week. Thanks.
Peace.